Hey everybody! This is Fantastic Fest Day 2. Day 2 already. Come on, I mean, if this is like regular Fantastic Fest, a year when we actually were at the Alamo Draft House downtown and everybody was there, this many people wouldn't already be hungover and dropped out.
I was going to say, if this was a normal year, I'd still be at the highball drinking.
Yeah, no. At this time, if this was a normal year, I probably wouldn't have seen the shorts program because I would have been like, "We're gonna go get drunk."
I actually, that's a note that I made to. Hi, everybody. I'm Trevor, by the way. That's a note that I made to talk about. Is that I really like that the shorts were in a primetime slot. Mm-hmm. They weren't playing up against anything, and so I think that gave them a lot of visibility that they don't have in normal years. And this was a really good program to do that with, because this was a really fantastic block of shorts this time around.
You know, and Matt's going to join us as soon as he gets his camera working. I don't know what's going on over there. Hi, Matt, if you can hear us. He can't hear us. All right.
Hello.
Oh, no, he can hear us. Hello. He's the talking circle. It's like having Hal be in our chat.
I can hear you. I'm just wrapping up, hastily shoving a pizza in my mouth hole.
He kind of even sounds like Hal. It's like, what were you watching, Dave?
Oh, no, when he starts chastising me on the Nighthawks podcast, it sends a chill up your spine.
Oh, the plug. I love it, man. That was like...
That was sly, wasn't it?
Not even 2 minutes in. I'm all for it.
I'm normally pretty lighthearted, but when I do lay down a mean chastise when I lay one.
Fair enough. I've listened to a few of the Nighthawks podcasts and quite enjoyed them. I do highly recommend them, even though they're not on the One of Us network. But these two guys both are on their side thing. I'm the side chick, so that's fine.
A very satisfying side chick, however.
Well, what can I do? I mean, like, I may have read The Joy of Sex a few times. Oh, wait, we're still talking about podcasting. Okay, sorry. We're here not to talk about that. We're here to talk about Fantastic Fest and about we started talking about the shorts program, so why not keep talking about the shorts program? Because you're right, it was a surprisingly solid block of shorts. Now God, this is embarrassing. I've been to every Fantastic Fest except 2. And I've never been to the shorts program.
Oh, shame on you, Chris.
No, but I'm one of those guys who oh man, I saw 80% of the films playing every single year, right? See as many as I can, but something's got to give, right? And I'm like, all right, the shorts program is where it gives.
Not who watches all the movies is our friend Will.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Fest attendees will remember Will as the guy who always wears a suit no matter how hot it is outside.
Yeah.
That dude will program a 35-37 movie week every Fantastic Fest. It's unreal.
Or as we call him, that damn sweaty fool what looked like a Baptist minister.
No, and it's kind of a shame because I think shorts just culturally in the United States get slept on. And Fantastic Fest usually programs a pretty good block of shorts. Now, with any shorts block at any festival I've been to, it's hit or miss. You see some good ones, you see some middling ones, you see some ones that maybe don't key with you. It's a mixed bag because they're really trying to program a little something for everybody, I think. This time around, though, we had a nice wide swath of themes, of tones, of styles, but everything was just really good and compelling.
I thought there was only one that didn't feel like it really fit, but it was really good anyway, which was the one that was with the girl in the Middle East trying to form a metal or trying to get busted with her metal band so she can escape. And I was like, it's a good short. I don't know that it felt like it belonged in this block of shorts, but it was good.
Yeah.
It ended up being my favorite. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, it had no genre element per se.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really just a little short drama, so it didn't. And the others all had something weird,
And I actually thought this time they're all good to some extent or another. There's nothing I disliked, but I thought it actually got better as it went along. Generally, the last 2 were great. like, wow, I want to show other people the last two, like Please Hold, which is everyone kept referring to as a Black Mirror episode, but a really good one. And I'm like, it's not entirely wrong, but you know, that's not an insult against something necessarily. It's just that kind of science fiction.
Well, and you know, Black Mirror is something where technology usually is, I don't know, the oppressing force or the defeater. It plays a more, it's a backdrop here. Really, Please Hold for me, and this is the fan theory that I chose to deploy. Maybe somebody else's read was different, but this was really just about, to me, the accessibility of justice for people, and how frustrating it can be to try and DIY when you get arrested for something you don't think you should be arrested for, and how hard of a system that is to navigate, and how much harder that is to navigate for certain people than others.
Absolutely. And definitely a warning as well, saying, well, this isn't going to get better the way things are going.
I love the wrinkle that getting the lawyer, even the negligent lawyer, it's just like the lawyer's just like, oh, all right, hold on.
Fine. You press the $10,000 button. I'll press the get out of jail card.
It's like, have you heard the old Tom Segura bit about the first 48?
No.
It's what it's about. He's about the after watching like 100 hours of the first 48, I've come to the conclusion that the one thing cops hate more than anything is when a guy goes, "Can I get a lawyer?" Because every time someone gets a lawyer, every time someone gets a lawyer, all the cops in the room are like, "Ah, fuck!" and then that guy gets away with it.
Both cops and people getting busted are watching too much Law and Order. They both learned the wrong things. I'm just saying. But
I watched. This is a grotesque revelation as to my personal YouTube rabbit holes. But I watch a lot of. There are YouTube channels that are just public domain police interviews, and there's a semi-famous one of a guy, and obviously you don't know their names, but for purposes of release, his name was like Jeff and a last initial. So there's this video out there called The Ballad of Jeff, and he's this guy. He's obviously a methamphetamine user that's been through the system before, and he just sits there, and the guy comes in and Miranda's him, and he's like, "Do you understand that you have the right to remain silent?" And he just sits there and doesn't say anything for like 15 minutes. And finally, and the guy's telling him, like, he's sweating him. He's like, "You get a lower time. You can do this. You can do that." And finally, the guy goes, "Man, I ain't telling you shit. I just came in here to get a Coke."
That's like a real life Shaggy Dog story, right?
Yeah.
Matt's good at those. One of the other shorts I wanted to shout out was and
yes, sometime ask me about the one about the big orange head.
I was like, the red noses. The guy who asks for red balls. He goes, "Give me red balls every birthday," and you're supposed to tell it for like 10 minutes about it. Keeps going more and more red balls, and he has this plethora of children at the end on his deathbed. Daddy, why did you want all the red balls? And he goes, "They were for." All right. So this last short, though, do you remember what it was called? Something about Florida, right?
Yeah, it's "You'll Make It" in parentheses in Florida. Yeah.
Never really seen anything like that before. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm just like more and more. I'm kind of half watching it at first, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then you get it gets just weird enough to start drawing you in, and then by the midpoint, I'm like, "Where the fuck is this going?"
Well, it's like that classic art meme where it's the guy who's just like looking at the paper, and then the fuck did I just read? And I enjoyed it, but it was like, wow, that was something totally off the wall and totally different. And like the production values on it were really good too, which was a pleasant surprise. A lot of times shorts will overextend themselves on their ambition, and all of these shorts worked well within their budgets. I think especially probably the one that, at least to my eye, was the lowest budget was A Solution for Sadness, where a girl finds a gorilla mask that adheres to her head. And the story unfolds from there. But something I did notice in there is that one of the characters at one point picks up, I think it's like a New Yorker magazine or a Newsweek or something. And the cover is dealing with Donald Trump and masks. And then realizing that this short film has come out, like, was produced within the last, 10 months or so. That this is something that happened at the beginning of the pandemic, and now we're seeing it come to fruition. And so it just shot full with that. We've got a really simple story in Solution for Sadness. Simple story, simply told, well done. Mm-hmm. And then you have a really fantastically stylistic I Love Your Guts, which is clean and crisp, and the lighting is fantastic, the performances are fantastic, the writing is just real spitfire. I mean, it's just, you have a cavalcade here, but the one common thread between all of these shorts was that they were all just really good.
Yeah, I agree. The first one, I kept waiting for there to be a joke about someone stepping on Legos, which never really happened. But a woman who starts vomiting up Legos for no real apparent reason other than, I guess, the metaphor and the ending point. But it all works. It's one of those, you could scratch your head and go, I'm not sure what happened there. You're not really supposed to take it literally. Just sit back and enjoy it, and it's fine. I did want to say one last thing, though, about that final one. One thing I was impressed with, usually when people do films that are like that are like, oh, this is a very, it's supposed to look like something that was on television in the 70s. They have to add the grain and all that stuff. And they didn't do that. They just made it look like it was a new production from the 70s. Yeah. And I kind of loved that.
Yeah, they really nailed that periodicity. Did I just make the word?
Periodicity.
You know what? We're going with it. That's a new word now. I'll notify Webster's immediately. Dear Webster's. Nothing. Never mind. All right. So let's talk about the movie that we saw tonight, Girl.
Now, Matt, you were struggling with the feed a little bit. Did you get this watched?
Well, I had I'm not going to blame it on the computer. I inadvertently hit a pop-up, yes, on a pop-up for a major OS update.
Oh, no.
So that clipped the first 20 minutes of it for me, and then I had too many syncing problems watching it, and I finally just kind of threw my hands up. Now, Trevor brought up to me, and this is a good note for anybody who's nodding along at home,
I think
that
Antonio's telling us the same thing, yeah.
Once they hit play on the movie, you can watch it on the Alamo On Demand service for the next 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
So you can actually quit the watch party if you don't really want or need the chat all that bad, and then you watch the movie and you have normal full control of it.
And let me say this about the chat, and I don't want to annoy anyone, but this drives me crazy. First off, do you guys remember people who chat all through the movie that this is Fantastic Fest, where we shut up and watch the damn movie, right? It didn't bug me. I don't have the chat on. I'm full screen. The only time I see the chat is when the movie crashed, and I'd be like, what? Y'all are chatting through this whole fucking thing? And they're generally talking shit. They're Mystery Science Theatering it. And then at the end, they're all shocked that they didn't like the movie. You're like, man, you could watch fucking Casablanca and talk shit with your friends all through it and come out the conclusion at the end that's the worst movie ever made. I'm just
by the way, Master Pancake Theater and Doug Benson are going to be riffing a movie. I think it's tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yep. The first movie I believe that they ever did as Master Pancake, if someone told me. So, Invasion of the Bee Girls.
Was there a persuasion period when they were journeyman pancake or?
Well, they used to be Mr. Sinus Theater.
Oh.
And then there were issues with the name, apparently, so they had to change it.
Yeah, some issue with the name with some other property that does something similar.
Yeah.
But I think every main person from that other property has riffed with Master Pancake at some point.
I honestly don't know if Mike Nelson has, but almost everybody else.
You might be right. Well, and Mary Jo Pell was
there.
Master Pancake for a while. And
she lived here in Austin.
Yeah, and the Mads have both done it. So, like, I don't know that there's... I don't think there's any necessarily animosity, but there was some brand concern once upon a time.
And with the upshot, I've got no problem with talking shit during a movie if that is the established reason to be there for that. Like, even if it's for a great movie, but that is the established reason. Like, the Master Pancake does really good movies sometimes, and everyone acknowledges this is for fun because you can do it to any movie.
One thing, I have some friends here in Salt Lake that are comedians that they run it's called the Front Row Film Roast. And since it's currently online, I might as well plug it. But it's an in-person riff at a bar cinema here in town that actually kind of famously got into a lawsuit over Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds paid their legal fees.
No shit.
First Amendment case. Because they're just a little too screen second run with an attached bar.
Yeah.
So it's like they were going to die because they got into it with the Salt Lake Bureau. There is an antique law in Salt Lake that you can't have liquor in an establishment that has displays of nude performance or dancing, which is its original intent was strip clubs.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or burlesque at the time, and they tried to apply it to a 2D depiction. Anyway, I digress. But the one thing I've learned watching these guys write their show is that good riffs are planned riffs, and you are not as funny as the people that have watched the movie 5 or 6 times and plan like at least roughly to the minute when they're going to say something.
Look, if you're with a genuinely funny group of improvers, and I've been with that group and not been the genuinely funny guy, but yeah, he's occasionally funny. Even those guys, like if they're just making it up as they go along riffs, you're getting 1 out of every 10 jokes hits that you're making. That's not great. If you're doing a planned one, it's like at least 2 out of every 3 are hitting. Those are better numbers. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's talk about the movie Girl. I keep wanting to do the "You'll be a woman." Sorry, I just don't hear you say it like "girl."
Too much Tarantino.
Anyway, this is directed by actor Chad Faust, who is known as Kyle Baldwin in the show The 4400, which I never saw, but it's prominently listed on his Wikipedia page. So I'm going to assume that he wants to be known by that.
Was he? He's Charmer in the movie, right?
Correct.
Yes, he plays one of the secondary primary role in the film. So the big star here is Bella Thorne, who is known only as Girl, the titular character, who we see when we meet her. She's on a bus. She's heading back to her hometown. She's going to murder her father, who she hasn't seen for a very, very long time. She's on the phone with her mom, and her mom's like, no, forget about the letter. Which you're like, what is the letter? Come back home. She's like, no, I got to go take care of this. So town in question is a shithole in the middle of nowhere that has, even for shitholes, it's all but dead. It looks like maybe 17 people live there total. We see like 6 or 7 of them. And everyone's like, don't mess with the brothers. Don't mess with them. You're like, who are the brothers? Well, the moment we see Mickey Rourke, or the face that used to be Mickey Rourke.
Why this character exists in rural America, we don't know. But somewhere along the lines, this character had a lot of plastic surgery.
A lot.
Fan theory, Mickey Rourke is the face of Bo.
Nice. The moment we see him, we're like, well, he's got to be one of them, right? Other one being Chad Faust. And we found out that there's a bunch of shit going on that has to do with her family, with her father, a bunch of shit she doesn't know. And this film is kind of about her finding it out. And it's, this is Southern Gothic, Southern Noir, whatever you want to call it, but you get it, that sort of thing. But lately I've been hearing people use the term hillbilly or redneck noir for stuff that goes this far, this deeply rednecky. I do think that, it's funny, people were talking so much shit about it, and I was like, Maybe if y'all had been watching the movie instead of typing, you would have had the answers to the questions you're acting like the movie didn't answer, because I felt like it was pretty tight overall.
You know, that's the one thing I do have to say is you want to pay attention to this, but this is not like, you know, it's tight. Basically, I walked into this movie having read the synopsis, and I said, really, the only thing I want this to be is something different from Winter's Bone. I don't want a Winter's Bone retread, and luckily that's not what this was. What I got was kind of, I'd say it's almost a slimmer or a tamer version of a Blue Ruin, which is appreciated, but at the same time, it didn't blow me away. This is not going to be my favorite film of the festival. No. At that point, it's also not going to be my least favorite. I enjoyed this. But it is a freshman effort. I'm going to see the next movie this guy makes. I'm eager to see what he's got coming. I'm probably 50-50 on who I'd recommend this to. It'd honestly be a, you know, did you like Winter's Bone? Did you like Blue Ruin? Did you like Green Room? Okay, this is probably for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that this is a cold recommend from me. For just somebody looking for anything random to watch on a Friday night.
Totally agree.
I'm gonna be that guy that I don't own a TV, but, who, like, I'm only very vaguely aware of Bella Thorne. What is a Bella Thorne?
Bella Thorne.
I know she was just in The Babysitter too.
Yeah, and The Babysitter one as well. She is probably in some ways better known as an influencer, if you will. For instance, she broke the record like last week of the most amount of money ever made by an OnlyFans account in one session.
Yeah, controversially so.
Yeah, controversially so. Apparently she was misleading or something. I honestly, it's one of those things like, I just don't care. I know about these celebrities because of the movies and television shows they do. I don't follow their personal lives unless they're Keanu Reeves, and I only follow his personal life to make myself feel like there's hope for humanity after all.
You know, the only reason I'm even mildly aware of it is that all the other OnlyFans girls that I follow were really pissed about it afterwards.
Yeah, it's one of those. I'm not talking any shit about it. I just didn't. Someone else had to tell me. I had to look it up and go, wait, what is the controversy? What's going on? Because I usually don't know. I never know who's people are like, oh, did you hear so and so divorced so and so? I'm like,
they were married.
She has a remarkably deep credit list of things I've absolutely never seen.
Yeah,
with just a few. I've seen the Scream series now that I see that she was in it.
I didn't even know she was in the Scream series. Was she, I assume just the last one, probably because she's like 23.
I think the Scream television series.
The TV series. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Which is actually kind of fun.
I've heard that. I did not watch it.
I liked the first season. It was good. But
yeah, before this movie, I couldn't have picked her out of a lineup.
Yeah, that's my experience too. But
my experience with watching her act, I've seen her in both The Babysitters, and I've seen her in a few other things here and there. And not Disney Channel stuff. I've not watched that. I wouldn't be embarrassed to admit it if I had, but I didn't have. I've never had the Disney Channel, but I've never seen her do anything where I went, oh yeah, she's a good actress until now. And I admit, like the moment I saw her name on here as executive producer, I was like, I think we all know what this is going to be. This is her going, I'm not just that girl who plays slutty girls and things. Okay. I can actually act. And I think overall she kind of proved it. I mean, she spends the whole film glowering at everything, you know, which is, but by the halfway point, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, like, it's not that she's bad. She's just got one speed. But by the second half, I was like, no. She pulled it together enough for me where I'm like, oh, she could pull off more than I thought.
You know, and it was almost to the point where I wish they had given her more to do. She kind of, the comparison I obviously made to Winter's Bone. In Winter's Bone, the lead character in that is she's very apt, she's very able, she's very clever, she's very woods knowledgeable, and this character, you get the feeling that girl is in over her head from the word go. She's not careful, she's not super clever, like she kind of stumbles her way through this like the best of the noir heroes. and just kind of finds herself at the end when it happens. But
Yeah.
that's
Although-
not a knock against the film. It's another reason why I'm like, well, this one was pretty good. I'm looking forward to this guy's next one. But, you know, I wish she just had a little bit more to do, a little bit more rounding on her motivations.
Well, she is carrying around Chekhov's axe the entire movie, and you're just
Right.
like, the moment you see Mickey Rourke with his big "help, I can barely move my face," you're like, I have a feeling I know where that axe is going in the last act of this film. That's, you know, it's telegraphed only because of you don't that strongly. If by the halfway point she's not killed someone with this axe or used it in some cool way with her throwing ability that they have made very clear that she has, then you know that's how the bad guy's going to die.
You know, that's probably my only real honest to God criticism of the movie is you can kind of track this movie. You know, you see it coming, you see the twists, you see the turns. But that being said, I still enjoyed myself the entire time I watched it, and I'm not going to knock the movie for me watching too many movies like this. And you know,
I mean, there comes a point where you speak the language of film so innately, having seen so much, having ingested so much, that I have to remind myself when I'm talking to normals. You guys know what I'm talking about. Everybody's got them in your family. You know, that's not an insult. It's just not people who watch like 7,000 movies a year. You know, that not everyone sees those same things that we do. And some films are for everyone, and some films are not for people like us. Just because they're like, okay, these guys are going to see this coming a mile away. These people won't understand what happened unless we tell them 30 times ahead of time it's going to happen. You know, I think that's why Jurassic World 1 and 2 exist.
Yeah.
I did point out to someone recently who was like, oh, the first one's better than the second one. I'm like, it's not, first off, but the second, I don't know. I don't know which one is worse. They're both bad, but the second one is both worse and better because at least it's so bad that it crosses that line over into where you're just kind of watching it like rubbernecking in a car accident going, my God, how much worse could this get? And then it does it.
You know, once the dinosaurs are in the mansion and it stops being Jurassic Park and becomes the Clonosaurus horror, that's when I bought into that movie. But yeah.
I wouldn't say bought in, but it is when I started enjoying it.
Yeah. Though at that point it was going to turn into Clue or something, and the dinosaur was Mr. Body.
I did want to throw out a couple of recommendations. If you're a fan of Girl, I definitely think you should check out Winter's Bone. And I also wanted to throw out a shout out for Bad Turn Worse, which was a Fantastic Fest film from 2012 or 2013. At the time, it was called We Gotta Get Out of This Place. And then was renamed Bad Turn Worse for its distribution. But that was Simon and Zeke Hawkins, written by Dutch Southern, which was another just hard-boiled South Texas noir, you know, lots of sun-blasted southern landscapes and windmills and just people in over their heads getting into trouble. Really good aperitif with this.
Nice. Good recommendation. I've seen so many reviews at Fantastic Fest. I have to go back through my own years of reviewing it to remind me whether I saw something or not. And that is a good segue for me to say, hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can see there's footage from, God, the last like 10 Fantastic Fests, if not more, extensive video footage of us covering it, of us showing events, all sorts of things. Like if you're jonesing to remember what it's like to be there at the place, man, we got all that footage on this channel. Look, and you can see it says Infestation, Fantastic Fest, right on the cover image. But as well, we've got tons of podcasts that we also did from here. So if you go to the website, Oneofus.net, and you put in Infestation or you put in the words Fantastic Fest, like hundreds and hundreds of podcasts will come up. If you're looking for a specific movie, you can put it in at the top of the screen. There's a list, a drop-down list there for films, and that is an alphabetical list of every movie and TV show we have ever reviewed with links. So you can just go click and go right to it, which includes shit tons of Fantastic Fest movies.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what I have to say about this whole experience is like I would rather be there. I would rather be at the South Lamar. I would rather be asses to elbows with a bunch of hot, sweaty, smelly people. And I think most of us would. But this is so welcome. Just, you know, getting to hang out virtually. A friend of mine actually sprung for a cameo with Doug Benson this afternoon. And so we got to hang out with him and catch up with him and just talk to him about his upcoming Master Pancake riff. And that was just like a shot of like, oh, it's like standing outside the South Lamar and having a cigarette, or a funny cigarette with Doug Benson around the corner. And just, you know, getting even the chat, you know, just seeing familiar names pass by, and just knowing that you two are watching a movie together and you're having this shared experience over thousands of miles. And it's something nice after a very long time of not very nice things.
It's funny making connections with people from all over the world, both fans, filmmakers, actors, just all sorts of people. And you never know who you're going to run into. You never know who the person you're talking to and hanging out with all day. Like, you might have a film buddy. 3 days later, you found out that dude wrote one of the biggest films at the festival. I love that stuff, because then you're like, hey, I already am friends with this guy. Now I can ask him all the cool geeky questions because I loved his film.
And it's not awkward. You're not being a fanboy. Yeah,
exactly.
I was chatting with a guy after I was a few milkshakes deep one year, and I was chatting with a gentleman, shall we say, very informally, and being gregarious as I am wont to be, kind of giving him an air beating, actually. And we were talking about like what we did, and I'm like, yeah, I do whatever I did at that time, because I can't remember what year it is. And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, I own stars.
I'm not that guy. I did too.
And
I know you're talking
he said it. He said it that way too, like it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, it's stars. I own it.
I got to go back to the fucking stars mines. It's like all we do all day is splash blood on titties. That's all we do. Where's this one taking place? It's in outer space and a pirate spaceship. All right, get the blood and the titties out. Where's this one taking place? Oh, 15th century. Okay, yeah, in a Italian castle. Great, get the blood and the titties out. Welcome to Stars.
So, Chris, what would your screener squad rating on Girl be?
What would my what? Say that again.
Your screener squad rating be on Girl?
Oh shit! I was afraid someone was going to ask me that.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
I would probably give this. I mean, I really did genuinely enjoy it. I don't think it's an all-time classic, but it spoke to a lot of the things I really like. I'd probably give it 7.5 out of 10. Axes that trajectory isn't even mildly diverted by a bullet running into it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that.
What about you?
I think I'm right with you. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. I'm going to call it 7 out of 10 broken down pickup trucks in rural America, because I'm surrounded by those where I am. Matt, you got one?
Well, I give it 5 out of 6.5 potential. I only watched 30 minutes of it.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say 5 out of 10 is the percentage of the movie that I watched. So that's fair. All right, guys. Well, thank you for talking with me tonight. We will be back tomorrow night to talk on here as well. If you're interested in joining the video chat at some point, you have some stuff to say about any of the movies or TV shows, or just you have memories you want to share about Fantastic Fest in previous years, please do. We'd love to have you come join our little chat. This is Trevor and Matt from the Nighthawks podcast. You can check that out. Is it nighthawkspodcast.com, or is there an alternate address way to say
nighthawkspodcast.com? We're also on Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, all of the good podcatchers. We're there. Look for us. We're the funny little cartoon that is modeled after the Edward Hopper Nighthawks painting.
which by the way, one of my favorites. Every time I see y'all's art, I'm like, yay, someone did that. I'm from Oneofus.net, of course. These guys also help me out on there as well. So come check out our list of stuff, including like I said, our huge history of Fantastic Fest coverage. And we'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks so much. Hey, thanks for watching our video. This is Oneofus.net. Like and subscribe to keep us going. Check out all the rest of the videos we have here on YouTube. Go to Oneofus.net for tens of thousands of audio recording podcasts that we've done reviewing your favorite movies and television shows. And you can even become a subscriber there for yet more stuff, including commentaries for movies and television shows. Join Oneofus.net, support Oneofus.net, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.